So now we're going to talk about USB audio devices and the Windows sound system. Whether you are using Dragon alone, pardon me, or Dragon with a cat system, you are going to need to make sure that your USB devices are configured correctly, because USB devices, if they're not configured correctly, will affect Dragon's ability to record good audio. And so it's vital that we do that. It's not only vital if you use a cat system, it's always vital. We're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to open sound settings and identify the sound card. How do we do that? If we right click on the sound icon in the lower right hand corner of our screen, it will bring up this Windows selection and we will click on Open Sound Settings. Now, okay, I just wanted to show you, if I right click and I go to Open Sound Settings, it brings up this screen here. And then I'm going to click on Sound Control Panel here. And then it's going to bring up this dialog. Now, in this is so important. You need to understand this little dialog so well. So everything that is going to show in this list, I want you to be conscious up here of the playback and the recording tab. Not every device that you use is going to show up in both tabs. Example. This is a Microsoft, this is a Pure Audio SA. When I point it to you this way, you can see that there is a pink and a green hole. Pink is mic in, green is headset out. Now, let me show you this other device. This is a Pure Audio MA. And if you look at this device, here, it only has a pink hole. That means that it is only capable of recording. It is not capable of any playback at all. But this device is capable. This Pure Audio is capable of recording and playback. Now, what does this mean? Everyone has an internal sound card inside their computer. If you unplug all of your USB devices and you go to the recording tab and the playback tab, you will find that the only device you're going to see is your sound card. That's how to know what your sound card is. So unplug all of your USB devices. That's your sound card. Make note of that, because for the most part, we always want our sound card to be our default playback device. If something happens to your sound card and it's no longer allowing you to hear, you can change your audio playback device to one of these devices that is capable of listening and writing. And what I'll show you is that the majority of the more popular devices that we use today, device for dictation is today the Sound Blaster Play 3. It's about $19 on Amazon, between $19 and $24. The more that people buy it, the higher the price goes. Now, if you look on the end, it's not as easy I love the Pure Audio because it has colors. This one does not. And it is hard, hard, hard for an old person to see. But I mean, I don't know if you can even see this. Let me see. It's not focused, but oh, it's not focused at all. But there is a headset and a mic picture there. So of course, you always plug the mask or your headset mic into the mic port, and you plug the headset into the headset port if you want to listen and record from this device. Not necessary. Most of us only use these USB devices for recording, but it's good to know that you can use it for playback too, and I'll tell you why. Not every sound card, internal sound card, does a great job of playback. As a matter of fact, laptop computers are notorious for not having quite the best playback. Not true for gaming computers. So if you're using a gaming computer, normally your audio is better. For instance, IBM Lenovo, it's a power computer. It's a business computer. Sounds kind of important, but a gaming laptop sound is very important. And so the gaming laptops generally will have better playback. But generally, the majority of your devices will record beautifully via USB device because you're using these devices really to record more than you're using the computer. And so that is a valuable thing to know. Always make sure that you're aware that the USB audio devices that you're using may not be the best device for you. The best device for you and the best device for me are not going to be the same thing. The best device for all of you, even though y'all are all court reporters, the best device for all of you is not going to be the same. I have a big mouth, so obviously I'm going to be different than all of you. But you guys have very different styles as well. Some of you, when you get quiet, your pitch goes up. Some of you, your pitch goes down. There is no one perfect voice for Dragon, but Dragon has always really liked the deeper, heavier, scratchy voices the best. So the angel voices, the little bitty high voices, have always had to work harder for recognition accuracy. That's why men are more accurate than you guys, not because they're more talented. That's absolutely not true. It's only because their voices are deeper. My voice is deep, and I have always had fantastic recognition. And I think that's why, because of my deep voice. Okay, so let us go back to our PowerPoint presentation, and I will start here. Okay, so once we are in this sound control dialog, we can left click on any of the devices that are listed here. So that's going to be your USB audio devices as well as your sound card. My sound card is the microphone array Synaptics audio. So if I right click on that and click on properties, I can come in here and I can go to the enhancements tab and I can disable all sound effects. Now, it's really important that you know that not every single USB device has enhancements, but most of them do. But not all of them have an enhancements tab. Sometimes it'll be on the levels tab. Sometimes it'll be on the advanced tab. So always look around and make sure that you are looking for any sound enhancements and disabling them, turning them off. Then you want to go to your levels tab. You want to make sure that the the microphone level is all the way up and the boost is all the way down to begin with. You can always lift it later if you need, but do your best to do without boosting your microphone until you need it. Because if you boost it too much, all you'll get is the shushing sound, that, and that's no good, as we all know. When you're done making those changes, always apply and okay. Now, let's talk about the USB devices that are most common in our industry today. And this would definitely be the hands down most common device, and that is the Andrea Pure Audio SA. This is the one that I shared with you a minute ago, that has the pink and the green ports. What I did was I went in and unplugged all my other USB devices and just left the sound card and then plugged in this device. I did this when my sound card was the Realtek high definition with my last Lenovo. One of the things that people love about this device is the blue light. It's not on right here, but you can see that it's on in this image. And the nice thing about that blue light is that it tells you, hey, I'm connected. And that's always nice. The Sound Blaster X5 Gopro has a little light as well down here. Not too many of them have lights, unfortunately. So basically, I'm saying here that anytime you want to know what a USB device is called on your system, plug in only that device and it'll show you. First, you have to know what your sound card is. Then you'll know that whatever else is plugged in, that's the name of this particular device. Now, there were two iterations of this device. The image you see on the screen here and this image here. It is my understanding that this is the most current one. Let me show you. I guess I don't have. So, okay. So the older ones have this Pure Audio wording on it. The new ones have the A with the circle. Okay. They have different names in the sound system. It's important that you notice that, because if you are using any kind of recording program on your computer, you need to be able to tell that recording program, go grab this USB device. Use this to record my audio. Even simple, like your onboard recording program that comes with Windows. It only records one channel, but it records one channel. So, also there's, what was it? I thought that there was a free recording program that a lot of you used to like to use, like Audio Link, or I can't remember what it was, but whatever program you're using, you do have to assign it the USB device that you want it to use. Now, this device is a stereo capable device. What does that mean? That means that if you have software that can take advantage of it, you can use a stereo splitter like this. You would plug it into the stereo device, which was here just a minute ago. There it is. Okay. So if I wanted to record 2 channels of audio on this Pure Audio SA, I would plug the stereo splitter into the microphone port, and then I would plug a microphone into each one of these, and that would allow me to record 2 channels of digital audio using one device. Certainly Digitran can do that. I'm not sure if the other CAT systems can do that, but you should definitely look into that and see if that's capable, because if your software is capable of doing that, because it's very convenient to be able to record 2 isolatable channels with one device. Okay, let's move on. So the next device that has been popular for a long time is the Stereo Andrea device. Now, this device here, this is what it looks like. Now, I want you to notice this right here. The newer Stereo Andreas don't have them. Only the older ones have them. Stereo Andrea is the oldest working USB that you can still get. I don't know where to get it on the internet, but I know that we still buy them directly from Andrea Electronics, or no, directly from our distributor. And so we can get the Stereo Andreas. I think we charge $45 for them. And they look just like this, but no big knot on them. You can see that it can be called the Andrea Stereo USB mic or the Andrea Stereo D2A by the Windows Sound System. I'd like to draw your attention to the number 2 right over here in front of the words Andrea Stereo USB mic. You will see this happen when you plug your device into a different USB port than you plugged it last time. If you are using a digital recording program on your computer and you put this device and you're using the Stereo Andrea and you put it into a different hole, it will no longer be just the Andrea Stereo USB mic. It'll be 2- the Andrea Stereo mic. So if you don't go and change that in your setup for your sound, then it's not going to work. So it's very, very important that you always plug any USB device you use, any USB audio device specifically that you use, into the same port every time. This is going to give you better results in the long run. This is also, by the way, the only other stereo capable device, meaning there's only one hole on this one. It does not play back, but I can put the stereo splitter in here, hook up 2 microphones, and record a stereo channel via this device as well. Okay, so that's a very cool thing. So here I'm just showing the different ways in which we use the splitter. In all of these, you are seeing only 2 different kinds of mics. The round mic is the CM1000, and it's a great mic, reasonable price, no batteries. I love that. Batteries, anytime you use batteries in a microphone, it's going to cause the microphone to record more loudly, which is good, but remembering to change out your batteries on a regular basis is not something everybody does. And God forbid you get to a job and you don't have batteries and it's dead. That's just not a good thing. So we prefer mics without batteries. These 2 mics here, these are called array mics. They're super cheap. Sometimes when we used to order the Stereo Andreas or the Mono Andreas, we would get these for free from Andrea. And so we just throw them in there. And it was a nice backup mic if one of your mics died. But it's not what I would call the most... it's not a great recording. Not for me. It has to be loud for me. Okay, moving on. This is the Andrea Pure Audio MA that I showed you a little while ago. And this is the one with only one pink hole in, right? And so this device is a mono device. It does have some boost. Some people do use it for the voice track. You can also use it to record a room track. This pretty stable device. I don't have too many problems with it. In the beginning, I didn't think it was as stable, but now it's doing far better. Not one of the Not one of my favorite devices, but a decent device. Okay, this is the Buddy 7G. And this is what it looks like in person. I don't have a lot of people using the Buddy, but I do have some. And the Buddy has been around for probably a good 7 or 8 years, if not more. And there was a 5G as well, a Buddy USB 5G, but this one is the 7G. This is the more current one. It is a mono device, meaning that you can only record one channel with it. I do have some customers that use it for their voice track. The ones that use it for their voice track are very soft voices, and it works. Normally, what I do is if I hear that you've got a super soft voice, then I'm going to ask you to get the USB audio device with the most boost, which is not normally the USB, the Buddy USB, but it works great for her. So what ultimately matters to me is that it works best for you. Okay, now we're moving on to the Sound Blaster X-Fi GoPro. When we first started with the X-Fi GoPro, it came to us looking like this. Has a little cap, a little useless cap, and it looks like this. Now, if your USB ports are like this in your computer, there might not be a problem. But if they're like this, side by side, let me see if you start to see the problem here. You see how wide this Sound Blaster X-Fi GoPro is? How much wider it is than the USB MA? They won't fit next to each other. So they got smart after all of our complaining and started including what we call a pigtail. You can buy these at Best Buy, at Staples. You can buy them online on Amazon. It's just an extender. It's not even a foot long. But talk about make a difference when you're trying to plug this little thing in as compared to this big thing in. You're going to have a lot better results. They're all going to fit, okay? This Sound Blaster X-Fi GoPro was my primary voice track for a good 10 years. And then a few years ago, a Sound Blaster came out with the Sound Blaster Play 3, which is awesome. I love it. And this is now my voice track. And so these two devices both have different names. This is the Sound Blaster X-Fi GoPro. It's actually now the SB X-Fi GoPro because the device driver has changed. This will only record one audio file at a time. It is capable of recording and playback, and the playback's pretty good. Okay, Sound Blaster Play 3, which I've just introduced to you. It's actually called the Sound Blaster Play 3. It will record a mono track, excellent as a voice track. It will also play back. Very nice device. Maybe somewhere in the area of $25 to $30, I think, on Amazon. Depends on who you buy it from. Okay, now we're going to talk about the future. If you have a brand new computer, you may very well have noticed these odd new ports. And they're very different looking. Let's see if I can grab. Here we go. Let me unplug this. Okay. So this is just a little hub that I use. Nope. Okay, that's just power. That's not a type C. Let me unplug this. This is a type C plug. You see how little it is? Look at this. It's a little bitty. This is the first device that that we have chosen. Let me go over this. This is a good question. How do we decide that a USB device is one that we can use? The recording created by the device is loud and clear. The name that Windows gives the device must be different than the Windows name of your other USB devices. Why? Because if you have more than one device with the same Windows name, how will you know which one is which? You won't. Your computer will know, but it's not actually going to tell you. So if you don't know, you're in trouble. So we do not duplicate devices. We only ever have one type of device for every USB we want to use. Now, let's move on. And here we're going to talk about the Comica. So this is a type C USB. Whoa, okay. USB type C, little bitty. And I have on my new computer, which this computer I think will be 2 years old this year. I have, I believe, 3 type C ports, but I only have 2 type A and B USBs. So the regular USBs that we've all been using for years, I can't use them unless I have some sort of a hub. Now, the hub that I use is huge because I, of course, have to be prepared to work with any number of USB devices. So, let's see if I can get it up here. Mine is a 14-port USB hub. And it is because I work with so many of you, and all of you have different USB devices. And so I have different needs depending on what customer I'm working with. So that's why I have so many ports. If you use a hub, please buy a power adapter for it and use power with your USB hub. Because if you don't, it can easily be turned off. So this is our favorite new port. We are still testing some other USB ports. We have not approved any of these. The Sabrent USB has been around for a few years. It came like this in the early years. And it is a lot like this now, only the pigtail is a little more permanent. And the Sabrents normally work. However, I have not tested this Sabrent Type C. This is a reversible connector, basically an adapter to make your regular USB device into a Type C USB device. This is an easy port, an easy peripheral to find on Amazon. Make sure you go with a cable name you trust. And over here, it's just giving you an idea of the size of a Type C port. It is much closer in size to the Lightning port that we use if we are iPhone users. It's very near that. It's also near what we use for Samsung users, which is the micro port. Okay, now we're going to talk about configuring the USB devices so that they are always functional. So the first thing that we do is go and set our default device for playback in the sound properties. So if we begin over up at the top with the speaker with the speaker icon with the yellow circle around it, if we left click on that, it will bring up what our device is. We can say we want it to be the Synaptics Audio, which is my current sound card. Or we could right click on it and go to Open Sound Settings, then go to the Sound Control Panel, and then it'll get us to this sound dialog in the lower right hand corner. And all we need to do to set our internal sound card as the default device is right click on it and click on Set as Default Device. This means that this is how your computer is going to play audio. So if you are listening via an earbud or these say you're monitoring with these classic, under the chin headphones here, you would want to plug this device into wherever you set as the default playback device. So if you decide you want to use your stereo, your Pure Audio SA, you would just plug that into the green port and set the sound to this device, and then you could hear from this port. Most people listen from their sound card, and so that is generally what we create as the default device. Okay. I think that I mentioned somewhere that also there is a default communication device, and the default communication device is actually what is used in situations like this. So for Zoom, for WebEx, for Skype, when you set the communication device to your internal sound card or one of your USB devices, then when you use Zoom or WebEx or whatever, it's automatically going to use that device for you to communicate with your presenter. And so it's very valuable to know the difference between your default audio device and your default communication device. Okay. Now, earlier I was talking about microphone enhancements and the warbling sound it can cause. So where do I go turn that off? Let's say I wanted to go and check my Andrea stereo. So I would click on the Andrea stereo USB mic, and then I would click on properties, which would take me to the second box in the black box. And this one is super easy because it says microphone enhancements. That makes it nice and obvious. I love obvious. It's not always obvious. What we want to do is go and check off disable microphone enhancements. We disable microphone enhancements and audio enhancements for all of our USB devices. The only time we would use microphone enhancements is if we didn't have maybe a CAT software to raise the volume for us in our audio recording. Otherwise, we really want to disable them because they can cause some very strange things. Also, if you are recording audio on a computer, you want to disable your virus scanning while you are recording audio, because that can definitely cause some problems with your audio recording if your virus, your antivirus or anti-malware scans during a job while you are recording digital audio. It could very well affect the audio in your computer. So it's really good to know that so that you can prevent that from happening on your computer. You can see that I have shown another example of enhancements for a different device. That's for the Synaptics audio in the upper right-hand box. And this one says disable all sound effects. That's what I check there. When you go to check the properties of your USB audio devices, again, make sure that the microphone is all the way up and the boost is all the way down to begin with. Only add boost when you have to. Okay, so we're going to talk about Device Manager. And Device Manager, this is so important because let's say that you're dictating with Dragon and drop down stops. Just stops. Look at your computer's time and see, have you been on the record for 15 minutes? Because that's when it will let them go, after 15 minutes. So you want to make sure that when you go to the Device Manager, you check these things. I'm going to escape from here and I'm going to actually go and show you Device Manager because this is so important. Oh no, I wanted to escape from that. Okay. So I'm just going to type in Device Manager, hit enter, and it'll come up for us. And I'm going to just make this full screen. So normally we go straight down to Universal Serial Bus Controllers. And everyone that says Hub, you need to left click on it, then right click, then go to Properties. You're going to go to the Power Management tab, and this has to be unchecked. Allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. We never want that. Just so that you know, should you ever want to check the driver for a device, you just go to the Driver tab, and you'll see the date of your driver. If it's that same year, you're usually pretty good. So click on OK. And we literally have to go through every one of these devices that has the word hub in it. The devices that do not have the word hub in it, you do not have to check normally. But you will find that power management will get turned back on after a Windows update, because Windows Update will automatically turn it back on for you. Because these days, Windows does not feel that you are smart enough to take care of things on your own. And so they just make these decisions for you, which isn't always a good idea. Okay. So I don't have to check those. Don't have to check the composite devices. But you'll notice if you keep scrolling down that there are root hubs down here. We have to go and check those as well. Allow, we uncheck. Okay. You're not going to have as many as I have because I have so many USB audio devices. But you definitely want to make sure that allow is turned off on all of them. Now, I just want to show you that normally the Device Manager is going to show you a yellow caution sign if there's ever a problem with any of your devices. And what's nice about that is if it shows you the caution sign, all you have to do is go there and have a look at what's there and see if there's anything with that caution sign. You can right click and go to Properties and Driver. and update driver. And it's going to actually go and look for your drivers, and it's going to tell you if it's already got the best device for that driver. Okay. So now we can close the device manager. And we're going to turn to the PowerPoint.